All right, sorry to keep you waiting. Why don't we just get things going here? So first thing I want to do is just go over the agenda real quick for you. I don't think it'll be too long of a meeting. I try not to have them too long. Um, just on a side note, years ago, we used to have a company meeting with a different brokerage, and they would have a weekly meeting, but they had a once a month meeting of all the branch offices together. And these things were marathons. They would start at 9 and very often not end till 11:30 or 12. And, by 10:30, quarter 11, you just see agents with their eyes rolling into the back of their heads. So I always try to keep a meeting a little shorter here too. Number two, there's nothing on the board behind me here. I don't think. Well, there's an ICA agreement for some reason, so I don't know. I didn't put that up there. So, being the tech-savvy fool that I am, I have no idea how to get something up on that board. Every time I try to get something up on that board, it either comes out as an infinity screen, where I have a screen within a screen within a screen within a screen to infinity, or I'm like the only one who can see it and there's some sort of sharing permissions. So I just haven't gotten to tech to figure that out yet, but I will. So our agenda for today, I'm going to go over, first off, for those of you who came a little late, I've invited an agent from Austin, Texas. I think she's been with the company about 1.5 years, but she's just killing it in every aspect. Elizabeth Riley, if you don't know her name or haven't seen her name on a Facebook post. But she's going to chat with us for a little bit, and, the thing is, she's one of us. She's an agent attracting, doing business, and just killing it. So feel free to pepper her with some questions, but she'll be in here at some point between now and the end of the meeting. She did have a quick doctor's appointment with a child, and like I said, I think it was a dentist cleaning or something like that, so she wasn't quite sure when she was going to be able to get here. So I'm going to go over, just if I find any local association news, I'm just going to throw that out there for everybody, because sometimes if you're in Sussex, there might be something interesting going on in Newcastle, etc., etc. I'm going to go over any news that we might have for eXp here in Delaware. If I have any tips or training, and sometimes in my searches, in my newsletters, in my emails, I'll come across some kind of tips or articles or an idea, something, and I just think, boy, that's pretty neat. So I've been jotting them down, and I'll just pass them along to you. And if you want to take a look at these things, that's great. If not, okay. I'll give you any eXp news, because this is a good forum just to see what's going on new with eXp. And then we'll just open it up for whatever you want. So I'll start with someone's here. I'll start with some local, okay, I just want to check those names of folks coming in, just make sure there's no one here for the guessing meeting. Looks good. All right. I will start with some local association news. Newcastle County, they don't have a very active website. A lot of times the events are hardly any or late, or they do a much better job sending things out via email. So I keep looking for those things. So they really don't have any events going on. But I'll tell you this, they do have some showcases for continuing education. They do have continuing education classes. One of the best places to look for them is, if you're not aware of this, then just look up NCCBOR on Facebook. And I think they actually go by Newcastle County Board of Realtors on Facebook. And click like on that page. And that way, at least you'll be getting some updates as to what's going on in Newcastle County. They don't have any CE coming up, but also we're going into that summer period where most associations have discovered that, nobody's going to come to classes. So April, May, June, there's usually good CE classes in a number of the associations. July, not so much. August, we start seeing some classes again. So if anyone's looking to have some classes or start taking CEs, you're probably not going to find too much in July. So in Sussex County, in Sussex, there are a number of CE classes that's going to take place in August, and you could just go to SCORE and then find what they are, and they're open to anybody in the state. But the big news down there is, and Tess, you're here, good, lock boxes are going to be switched over to the newer versions, which is what Kent County has, and it's in preparation of us having one key or one access for both counties, and that will occur later this year, but this is part of switchover. So in the meantime, they need to do a lockbox audit. They want to know what lockboxes are out there, where they are, who has what. So Tess, I'll get up with you, but if any of you have any lockboxes on Sussex County homes, or let me rephrase it, if any of you have a Sussex County lockbox on any homes, drop me an email or text and just let me know, so we could let SCORE know. In the middle of the state, KCAR, there's not much going on there. They do have this is open to everybody, I think. This is a KCAR 4th of July celebration. So the town of Dover will have a 4th of July parade. They're looking for volunteers to be on the float or help with the float, and they're looking for volunteers to work a booth on the mall. It's because it's the state capital and it's the 4th of July, the parade and the event that goes on in the mall, which is, some food trucks and vendor booths, usually gets a pretty good amount of traffic. So if you're in Kent County and you have any interest in working a booth or helping with the float, the 4th of July is 1 week away, so just give Matt a call over at KCAR. Let's see. Okay, new in eXp Delaware. He couldn't make it today. He sent me a text, but we have a new agent, Francois Baptiste. He's a pretty sharp guy. He came aboard with Mike Conlon. Mike's his sponsor. I've had a number of conversations with him. He's a real go-getter. I think he's going to be a good asset. He handles Middletown through Wilmington, but he handles all of Newcastle County. Abby, he was the one I asked to see if he was licensed in Maryland, but he just said he would like to. He also does professional staging, so you could talk to him about that, and he does interior design as well. But very well sorted out, good agent. I'm real pleased to have him aboard. So feel free to friend him on Facebook, Francois Baptiste. Someone asked me how many agents we have. Best I can count is 35. And I say best I can count is because at any given time, we always have some what I call a soft yes of people who say they're coming aboard or planning to come aboard, or who haven't made the move quite yet. So I think our hard number right now, people who are actually here, is 35. And nicely, we've hardly had anybody leave eXp Realty, which is pretty neat. In brokerage management, a benchmark retention rate is 85%, which means in any given calendar year, about 15% of real estate agents will move, and that's just leaving. So the way they calculate retention rate is if you start the year with 100 agents on January 1st, December 31st, it's likely that 15 of those original 100 will have moved somewhere. Of course, there's new agents coming in and all that, but this is for the purpose of a retention rate. That's about the benchmark ratio. So if you're over that, you really want to be looking at what you're doing. The previous brokerage I was at, they had 1 year a retention rate of 79%, which means 21%, or 1 out of every 5 agents, left during the year. So there's a situation where they really needed to sit down and look and start asking some hard questions. Why are agents leaving? But here, we will be in existence 3 years in August. So maybe we'll have a anniversary or birthday party or something. But we've had, I think, 5 agents that left, and they all left for pretty good reasons. One agent was brand new, and he just wasn't taking classes or reaching out, or he just wasn't quite that self-driven person that I think you probably need to be with an eXp Realty type of model. And we sat down and had a talk, and I suggested that he go to a traditional brokerage. And again, not to jettison him so much as to, I felt his career was just stagnating. He just wasn't getting what he could have out of eXp, and maybe sitting in a cubicle for a while, and like that might benefit him. So he agreed with that. It was in good terms, so he left. But we've had people leave. We had one person leave who's dual licensed in Delaware and Pennsylvania, and he just left. His name's Sean Reagan. Sean just left because he's about to undergo some serious operations, so he put his license on ice in both states. Joanne Brandt left because she's trying to work in MLS in Ocean City, which we weren't up and running in yet. Another agent left. She just decided to put her license on ice. So total, we've had 5 out of in 3 years. We've nicely had no one who left yet who said, I don't like this place, I'm out of here. So that's good, encouraging news. Also, eXp Delaware News. I'm doing an audit of our licenses. All licenses have to be signed and in our office at all times, and I see that there's a good handful of licenses that are unsigned by agents. Now that's not on you, that's on me, because I need to get them to you somehow. So to the letter of the law, I'm supposed to see you sign it. I don't know why. But there's no place for me to witness it or anything like that. So instead of me driving all around the state or trying to ask you to meet me halfway here and there, I've stuck them all into the mail with a self-addressed stamped envelope. If you're one of them, you may have seen it. Please sign it. Keep your pocket card. That's supposed to be on you at all times, and stick your signed envelope back, or license back in the mail, and get it back to me. It's already stamped and ready to go. So just look for that. If you're not carrying a pocket card, you need to carry that with you at all times. Just a reminder, we do have a YouTube channel now. I've been putting up videos on there. I have a series of 8 videos right now. I think it's 8 of how to fill out various forms. They're all about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I think one is an hour, and that's the agreement of sale. Because it's not so much as fill in the blanks. I try to go over what we're doing, why you might be doing something. So feel free to go through those. I'm likely to record some 3, 4, 5 minute what I call refresher courses. So let's say there's a form that you haven't used in a while, and you just want, like, man, just give me the basics of how to do this again, and you don't want to sit through a 20-minute presentation. I get that. So this way it'll be a 3, 4, 5 minutes, like, hey, just a refresher. Here's how you fill out a must-sell addendum. So look for those. Those aren't up there yet, but they will be there too. Our meeting is going to be there. What I'm going to do is, and again, I told you I'm not going to bombard you with this text messaging piece of software that I'm now using, but I will send out another text later today when this meeting that's being recorded now will be uploaded to YouTube. And what I'll do is I will include the direct link to that meeting. So if you're here, great. If you couldn't be here, everyone will get a text message, and they could click on that link and watch it. You can just save that in your text messages there. Also, I'm also creating some onboarding emails. And I don't know if I talked about this later. There's a couple of things I do want to repeat from last meeting. So Kiwa talked quite a bit last week, which was good. So I didn't quite check off what I got to and what I didn't get to last meeting. So onboarding emails. I find that when we first come aboard to eXp, and they're working on these things, everyone's kind of inundated with emails, and there's a lot of information in all these emails. So I do have some agents in the past who 6 months later or 8 months later will say to me something along the lines of, hey, we have Breakthrough Broker and we have free access to that. I never knew that. Well, yeah, it's in your original emails, but I'm the first one to say, how much can you absorb right out of the get-go? So very nicely, I picked up a piece of software last year, a CRM software called RealVolve. And what they did, and there's a little bit of a learning curve to it, but what they did was, as soon as I sign up, they automatically start sending me one short, quick email a day for 30 days, I think it was, with one simple task or one simple aspect. Today we're going to get your profile picture up and you're going to create your email signature. And next day was something else, next day was something else. And maybe I couldn't get to it all at once, but every 2 or 3 days I could get there and get my task. And I thought it was a great way to get to know this software and get up to speed with it rather than trying to figure it out on my own. So I've got 30 days of emails coming out to all agents who join. One of my realizations last year was that, when I was able to onboard 1 or 2 agents, I could just kind of wing it. There was a period last year, I think we brought in 5 agents in 1 month, and I was pretty much the point person. So I was literally overwhelmed with taking on 5 agents. And my aha moment was, man, that shouldn't be 5 agents shouldn't overwhelm the broker with that. What if we bring on another 5 agents, or what if we want to bring on, oh my gosh, 8 or 10 agents in a month? So I know a buzzword at eXp currently is scalability. So that's kind of what I was doing. I want to make sure that everybody's covered. So as you're talking to other agents, this will be in place within the next week. And I haven't decided yet. If you would indulge me, I might put everybody on this 30-day onboarding just so everybody's on the same page. Even though it's going to sound like you're brand new to eXp, but you could skim over it. And I promise you, each email is a couple bullet points, a couple paragraphs. Here's a task for today. And whenever possible, if I needed you to go someplace to a specific website or link, I included a button in there to go to that now. So I think I might send everybody these emails, so bear with me for 30 days on that too. All right. Some tips, some training. Let me get over to a link here. There we go. I'm going to put this in a text chat. Who said fine? Okay, it's fine. Good. All right. In your text chat is a link. There is a company called Chime. From what I've seen, they are similar to a conversion or a sync, and there's pricing and zip codes and all that stuff, but they do have some good reference material and learning material. So they did have a great PDF ebook, which is free, and I'm guessing you have to put in your email, but I just wanted to pass it along. There's a great ebook about forming a real estate team. So if anyone wanted to have any interest in that, this website, Chime, has that there. Oh, I didn't skip. There we go. See, I thought I just put it in, and I didn't push enter. So now it's there. Okay. Yeah, how to build a team. I'm going to put in another link. If you're not familiar with this, a company called Playster, which does websites. They, in conjunction with NAR, there we go. In conjunction with NAR, they are providing a free website. It has IDX capability, home searching capabilities. It's a freebie. I know we get a lot of freebie stuff here at eXp, but if you ever wanted another option or something to look at, or maybe something as a niche type of thing, it might be something to look at. The company's name is Playster, but it's NAR arranged that for us, so it's one of our benefits, but they're offering free websites. So if you have any interest in taking a look at that, that's there for you too. Closing out with my some tips and stuff here. Just putting something else in the text. There we go. I found an article. There's a website called rismedia.com. It's a good website to keep tabs on and take a look at. They've got some good articles and good things to read and study just to improve your own abilities. One of the articles I saw was just being a little more stronger with some of your relationships. So, one of the interesting aspects about being a real estate agent is that we need to be a little more of a chameleon. Okay, I'm sorry, I just got a text message. It looks like Elizabeth's trying to get in, and for some reason, eXp World's crashing on her. So we'll just keep a look at her. If anyone sees her popping in, Elizabeth Riley, and I don't see it up there in that list, just interrupt me and let me know. But one of the interesting aspects about being a real estate agent is that we need to build relationships with a lot of different types of people. It doesn't mean we need to be phony, but we do need to have that kind of chameleon-like ability to just get along with a lot of different people. And we all know people who can only get along with certain other types. We can't survive by that. So how to build some stronger relationships with your clients, there's just a little article about this in RIS Media. So give me a second here, and I will get back to Elizabeth. And I'm still here. Okay. There we go. All right. In some eXp news, let's see. Kiwa, who was here at our last meeting, he announced at our brokers meeting, and I think he might announce this on our Friday leadership meeting. And for those of you who are new here, that Friday leadership meeting is open to everybody. I have had some agents who say, well, I thought it was just for like management or something like that. Nah, that's our company meeting for the nation. It's kind of cool being in a company meeting that's literally nationwide. So they usually introduce agents, and some of the agents will talk about what they're doing and how they're doing things. So it's and you could watch that later on YouTube as well. That's every Friday at 11. Excuse me. Also, what's handy is if you're in a car, you could very cleverly open up YouTube, and it's a live feed on YouTube while it's being recorded. So you could kind of listen to it in the car if you're driving somewhere, driving to an appointment. You could just listen in on the meeting while you're driving. So anyway, Kiwa, I was very pleased that he spoke with us last week. I thought he was disarmingly transparent, more than I thought someone would, and he is obviously working very hard. He's incredibly busy these days. I know there's been a couple times I've had to reach out to him. Actually, recently, Dan, I'm talking to him about a few things. But he announced that their original goal with the accounting was to get this mess tied up, cleaned up, and back to within 24 hours by the end of June. Last Thursday, they hit 24 hours. So they are now issuing checks within 24 hours of all approvals. So that's a week ahead of their schedule. So good for them. Let's see if it holds up. And if not, hey, listen, if anyone else, yeah, absolutely. If anyone's having some issues with getting their checks, let me know, because I am not afraid to scream at them. One of the big things now is, though, and Jeff's going to review this, I think I talked about this last week, it's not so much that they are waiting for a check to arrive. What they're doing more is they want proof that it's been paid. So your best course of action is to walk out of settlement with make sure you have a copy of the settlement sheet, what we used to call the HUD, scan it and upload it as soon as you get home or back to a laptop or wherever you can scan it from. Get it up and get it into the SkySlope transaction. They're working on notifying me, because I have to approve the thing before the payment process can start. So for the time being, to be very proactive, send me a text and just say, hey, JT, the settlement sheet is up there for 123 Apple Blossom, something like that. So, unless I'm on the road or something, I could get in there. Well, even if I'm on the road, I could get in there and look it over and click the approval. I could tell you what I'm looking for in the settlement sheet. I'm looking to make sure that you didn't accidentally get cheated, or there's accidentally some mistake that's going to hold up your settlement. So I always look at the tab that's for commissions, and if it says, sales price 200,000, commission 3%, and then it'll auto calculate that to be $6,000 gross for you. That's what I want to see on the settlement sheet, $6,000. There's a place for notes that's a little further south on that commissions tab. If you have any changes or anything issues, you could certainly make these changes, but let me know, because if I'm looking for 6,000 and it says 5,800, then I'm not going to approve it until I know that you didn't get cheated. That's really what I'm looking for, that you didn't get cheated. Paralegals are human. Attorneys are close to human. But I just want to make sure that you're not, getting the short end. Or if you have an MLS sheet that says you're getting paid 3%, and I calculate it, and it's something less, and it looks like it's 2.5%. I want to know why, for your sake. So I won't approve it till those numbers match. So let me know. Sometimes I think we had one. I don't know if the person's in the room. I can't even remember who it was, but it was like $20 off, or something like that, yeah. And it was a new. That's what it was. It was a new home sale, and the builders calculated it a little differently, I think it was, than what was originally. So that was fine. This person was getting more money, which is good. But I just wanted to make sure why. So anyway, best case practice, get your settlement sheet uploaded. Even more important than the check. What they told me was, I think this is a repeat too, I apologize, was that the transaction team, accounting team, has stated that the odds of getting a check from an attorney and getting a good check from an attorney are about 100%. So they're not worried about when the check's arriving or getting it. They could pay as long as they know the transaction's taken place. That's really the thing. They're keyed up and ready to issue your check, but they need proof that the transaction has taken place. So have a copy of that settlement sheet, and I'm going to say, they haven't told me this, but I'm just going to say this. I think this is probably what's going to be. Make sure it's signed. So that you have, where the buyers have to sign it, sellers have to sign it, because you could get a settlement sheet 3 days prior to settlement unsigned. Doesn't mean that the transaction took place. So have the signed sheet. Always make sure, if the attorney says, do you need a copy? Always say, yes. And if the paralegal wants to scan and send you a copy of the signed documents, let them do it. I'm thinking that as we move forward, and I don't know this for a fact, but it makes sense that the disbursement announcement that the transaction people will be sending will probably ask them to do that, to scan the sheet and send it over right away. So I would be proactive, just in case that is the case and the paralegal can't get to it later or until later, and get it up there, scan it, sign sheet, get it up there, put it in that settlement sheet tab, text me or Voxer me, let me know, hey, it's up there, JT, and I will try to get to it just as fast as I can, no matter what I'm doing. So just so you can get paid quicker. Let's see here. eXp has asked me to remind everyone that in the spirit of communication and transparency, that they're going to be issuing an email every Thursday, and that's going to be what's new at eXp, what's going on, any issues, what's being done about it, things like that. So they just said keep an eye on that and look for that communications. Make sure it's going into your correct box and not ending up in, if you're using Gmail, in a promotions tab or a spam tab or anything like that. It shouldn't, but just keep an eye on that, look for that. It's not a bad idea to take a look at that. Also, if you're not aware of this, eXp News, they're moving to a new piece of software called Enterprise, and you could find it at expenterprise.com. You should have a login, password name. What they did was, and they've been working on this for about 6 months, they didn't purchase a piece of software. Like SkySlope is a third-party vendor, and it's a good vendor. This is Guru is what we used to use with transactions. And if you're not familiar with Guru, that was what we used before SkySlope. So it's still around because there were things that SkySlope couldn't do. So my understanding is that part of our accounting backup was that things had to be entered into Guru that couldn't be entered into SkySlope. Things had to be entered into SkySlope, the same information. And now as we transition to this new software, Enterprise, things had to be entered into there. So good Lord, no wonder it's not too surprising now in retrospect that there was a backup. You've got these people entering things, and it has to be exactly the same in 3 different things for over 3,000 agents. Oh man! So we're moving towards Enterprise. SkySlope's not going anywhere, but Enterprise is not something we bought. It's something that eXp had built from the ground up. So my takeaway on this for you is go in there, take a look around. If you see issues with it, with your own stuff, send a text message, or an email to tech or support at eXp Realty and let them know. But the things you're going to be able to find in there, either now or in the future, is your downline, your revenue share payments, how you were paid, why you were paid on your revenue share, who contributed, your transactions, your stock ownership, the stock that you've purchased through commissions, the stock that is awarded to you awaiting the 3-year period, vesting period. You should be able to find all that information, and they will keep adding to it too. But it looks like now they've transitioned to Enterprise. So that's not a bad one to keep bookmarked. Make sure you know what your username and password is. And I believe the username is your eXp Realty email. So that I know that much here. The other thing that eXp asked me to pass along is, let me just check here I don't see any more messages. Elizabeth's trying to get in. The other thing that eXp asked me to pass along is that if you weren't aware of this, Glenn Sanford a few months ago decided to sit down and really just come up with what our value system is for eXp. And I know he reached out to a number of agents. I know some of you here helped out with that as well as to what the values were. It was a very collaborative type of effort. They made lists and lists and lists and tried to boil it down to what the essence of eXp is and should be. And what they came up with was that Glenn had 3 main values, and that was a sense of community, how we get along with us, with each other, our service, that we are seeking to be the highest service provider in real estate, and sustainability, excuse me, that we continue to survive in a very positive way. But he also created 6 cultural values. I have to agree with these 6. I love these things. One is collaboration. I think the collaboration that goes on in eXp is one of our big secrets that we don't tout enough. It's one thing to talk to agents thinking about coming aboard or we're attracting about, rev share, stock, 80-20 splits, cloud campus. But day-to-day, real life, the collaboration that's available to you, you could at any given time jump into a cloud campus and chat with an agent from Alabama or Ohio or Texas as to what they're doing and how they're doing it. And you see the amount of collaboration that goes on in the Facebook page, our private group, and the amount of collaboration that goes on in meetings and classes. Some of these mastermind classes that are going on are outstanding, and they're just great agents bouncing ideas off of one another. Where else in the world can you do that? Because these agents are from all over the country, and you're bouncing ideas all off of one another. So if you see some of these masterminds, take advantage of that. So collaboration is one of Glenn's 6 values, or I should say eXp's 6 values. Transparency, and that's a new initiative that we've always been pretty transparent, but Glenn says, no, we're putting it in writing, and we're going to be very transparent. In years gone by, when Glenn was running meetings and, handling brokers meetings and things like that, he was remarkably transparent I remember him literally saying things like, all right, here's where we failed at eXp right now, but we're not in the future. He would just say, or take responsibility and take ownership of things that went right or went wrong with it. So he wants that as a company-wide value, transparency. Another one is integrity, and that's an important one, of course. But now, hey, it's in writing. It's one of our values. Innovation. He wants his company to be innovative and keep pushing the envelope as to how he could do things better, faster, quicker, and better than the competition. He wants us to be able to do things quickly. So I think he came from companies and corporations where, it's like stopping the Titanic on a dime and turning it around before it hits the iceberg. Some of these places are so big that you just can't do that. So he wants to always build into the systems an agility that we could do things quickly and take advantage of things and move from things to things rather rapidly. And that's part of the thought process of what we're going to be doing. And my favorite one, of course, the 6th one, is fun. He wants us all to have fun and enjoy ourselves while we're doing our work and making our money. So, yeah, I got to like that. I can't remember a company saying that one of our 6 values is fun. So, I'm all in on that. So let me just repeat them. Collaboration, transparency, integrity, innovation, agility, and fun. All right, that is about all I have for now. Sorry, it was more of a little bit of a lecture today. Our next meeting is going to be July 10th. Before you pop out, though, I just want to ask a few questions. That'll be in 2 weeks, so we're going to continue meeting every 2 weeks. Anybody, I just would like to wait a few more minutes to see if Elizabeth can show up. If not, then we'll get her here on the 10th. I'll tell you what, let me just look real quick and see if she's even on campus somewhere. Elizabeth Burns. No, that's not her. All right. Anybody have any new listing? Oh, hey, Dan, just out of curiosity, tell us, how was your open house on Sunday?
Actually, it was fantastic. I had more people show up at this open house than I've ever had. I had 8 families come through.
Wow.
I know of 1 offer coming, possibly 2. So
Were those offers
very well? It went very well.
Were those offers a result of the open house?
Yeah.
No kidding. Boy, that's great. I know I was talking about doing an open house with you, and boy, did I make a big mistake. I had completely forgotten that I was supposed to be in New Jersey at our nephew's baptism party. So I was this close to scheduling that with you and then incurring the wrath of my wife. So, dodge that bullet. But that's great. 8 people. Did you ask it by any chance? How did you hear about the open house and where they came from? Because I know you put an ad in the local papers too.
Yes, whenever I have an open house, I have a form that I ask them to fill out, and on there it says, "Where did you hear about this open house?" About half of it was signs, part of it was the web, and a couple of it was the newspaper. So got a pretty good variety.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, I've said it. Hi, Elizabeth, come on up. I have often said that with open houses, sometimes you have a house that's vacant and it's in a good location, and a lot of people just come from signs. So there's been plenty of times where I've had that listing that I know I could show at any given time, and if it's a Saturday or something like that and I've got nothing better to do instead of just sitting around or finding something to do. Of course, we all need our downtime too, but there's been plenty of times where I've grabbed signs and my open house kit and go stuck signs in the lawn and, just did an open house, and it's always amazing. By the way, in Kent County here, I do have a vacant 55 plus community house in Nobles Pond that can be held open at any given time. So there's always a lot of folks coming down from Jersey, and Nobles Pond is a community that does a lot of their own advertising. So if you ever want that open house on a Saturday, something like that, 11 to 1, 1 to 3, whatever you want, let me know. I'll be glad to help you get in. Hi there, Elizabeth. Come on up here, up front here, and chat for a few minutes with us.
Good morning. I am sorry for being so late.
Yeah, no worries. I told them all that you had some appointments and stuff. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. I know you're from Austin, Texas, or at least that's where you are now. Or have you always been from Austin?
I'm so good at this mouse. No. Well, I grew up mostly in Texas. I was born in California, grew up in Texas, but my husband and I were moved to Atlanta, Georgia, early 2000s, and then we were transferred to Austin in '08.
Oh, nice. Very good. How long have you, let me ask you a few questions then. How long have you been with eXp now?
I joined eXp a little over 2 years ago,
Okay.
in May, a little over 2 years ago. We were one of the first ones here in Texas.
Nice. And what I was hoping you'd talk about today, you spoke in our brokers meeting about a little bit about your personal business, the transactions you do, your attractology and downline. Why don't you just tell us a little bit, and then I'll just jump in here with questions as I see them.
Sure, sure. So I've been in business 13 years. I got started in Atlanta, Georgia. I was always with Keller Williams, and when we transferred to Austin, I just stayed with Keller Williams. I thought I would be there, for the end of time, but then this model showed up, and it was something that was way too good to pass up, and so I started taking a look at it more seriously. I was a producer in Atlanta. I was a top producer in KW. When I left the company in uh, beginning of 2015, I was the #1 agent. I think we had about 650 agents at that time. I was very focused on recruiting, although I don't like the word recruiting. I like more attracting. And I was the #1 recruiter in the region for a few years in a row, mainly because when I would bring people on, I would mentor them. I had really good success with newer agents. I I don't I would mastermind with them. Each month we'd have anywhere from 50 to 70 agents that would come in there, and they'd always call me, and I would just kind of mentor them and help them to do the business that they were looking to do, whether that's sell one house a year or sell 20 houses a year. I was just there for support. And then I joined here 2 years ago.
Nice. If you don't mind sharing, so what volume of business do you do in a given year?
I am one of those agents that doesn't really set goals. I don't like setting goals, financial goals for me, because I feel like if I'm setting a financial goal for me, I'm not necessarily keeping an eye on what the clients need, if that makes sense. So I never know what my volume is until I'm doing my taxes. So last year I did 16 million. In KW, I was anywhere between 11 and 13 million. I think the best year I had over there was 14 million. So I think eXp has allowed me to work smarter, not harder, and has given me a lot more balance. And so last year I did 16. In my direct downline, I have 20 right now on my first level. I don't know what I have in the other levels, but I've had a balance of both attracting and production.
Nice. I found this interesting. Where does the bulk of your personal transaction business come from?
My business is 100% referral. My background is marketing. I love to market to my sphere. I'm very passive in my marketing. I have 4 little ones, and so I'm really involved in their schools. I get involved in the PTA. I make sure I'm a partner in education, so I'm giving back. Small businesses giving back to the community and giving back to the schools. And so I want people to know what I do, and I want my name out there and our brand out there. We have the Lux Property Group, but I never want somebody to see me and say, oh my gosh, run, there's Tripp's mom. She's going to talk about real estate. So I'm very passive in my approach. I like to contribute. Um, I like to do a lot of things behind the scenes, and my business has just continued to build year after year just because of my personal relationships. I keep in touch with my clients every month. Marketing to your sphere is really an effective and inexpensive. It can be an inexpensive way to build those relationships and the referrals. But I send things each month to my clients that aren't really real estate related. It's more of me wanting to make sure that they want to open whatever I send them each month. Like, what's Elizabeth up to this month? And so uh, I'm always sending out creative things, but they also know um, from I'm doing more social media since I joined eXp. I was never on Facebook, but so they're seeing my successes and my business grow, but I'm not being in your face, and so they just approach me and I just refer them, or they just refer business to me, and I take care of each of my clients like they're my one and only client, hoping that they'll continue to give my name out.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So and basically you're just sending emails. Are you doing any phone calls or anything like that as well?
No, I'm not really even doing emails. Phone call. I'm not really good with phone calls. That was one of my big problems at KW. Is they always talked about cold calling and calling withdrawals and expireds and things like that. I like to treat people the way I wanted to be treated, and I don't like it when I get a phone call out of the blue and somebody's trying to quote unquote sell me something, or somebody's trying to um, hey, we're having a contest. Can you give me 3 names? I don't like being put on the spot like that, so I don't like
Right.
doing that to other people. But I mail things out to them. So, for example, St. Patrick's Day, for example, and I'm very cheap. I'm very inexpensive in my marketing because I know ultimately it's going in the trash. So I don't need to spend a whole bunch of time and money and effort, but I want it to be effective. And so for St. Patrick's Day, I just got a Word document and I put a 4-leaf clover clip art on it and said, you don't need luck in real estate. You just need Elizabeth Riley and the Lux Property Group on your side. And then I put a scratch off. And I said, if you win big, make sure to call me to help you buy your next mansion or castle or whatever it was I wrote. But I had people reach out to me so excited because they won $2, or one of my clients that's a huge referral base, he won $20 and he was so excited. And it just opens conversations and opens dialogues. So I do things like that each month. And then what I've been trying to do is be very intentional in meeting with my clients and my sphere of influence. I'm trying to meet with people twice a month. So I'm trying to meet with 2 recruits twice a month and clients or referrals twice a month, and take them to coffee or lunch. And I don't talk real estate. It always comes up though. They want to know how are things going? How's business? How's the market? And really, I'm really wanting to understand how they're doing and just keep my name in front of them and keep me present so that when any real estate needs come up, I'm the person they go to.
And I'm not going to beat around the bush. What I am when I listen to Elizabeth, and she's an ace, what I'm hearing is that how often have we heard this? This is a relationship business, and all Elizabeth is doing is building relationships. So, Elizabeth, you basically, if I'm hearing this correctly, you basically have 2 groups that you are looking for referrals for, your past clients, and what I would call a sphere of influence. Is that right?
That's all my business.
That's it.
I
That's everything.
haven't figured out conversion. I don't even know how to log into Commission Inc., which I hate to admit all that because I know these are powerful tools. It's just not my business model, and I feel like a fish out of water. And I feel like it's forced and it's not authentic. And I'm very big about being genuine and authentic and doing the right thing. It was funny. I was talking to a client a couple days ago that we've been looking for this house and we've put offers in and we just can't find the right one. And she's like, I just feel like I'm wasting your time. I'm like, you're not wasting my time. This is my job. I like to see what the inventory is out there. And I said, in fact, I just closed the deal that it took us 2.5 years to find the right house. And I said, but if that's what it takes, it's an investment on both of our parts. I don't want them to ever feel like this is transactional to me, because it's not. I want the very best for my clients. I want to find the perfect thing. I don't want to put them in something that they're not happy about, because if they're not happy about it, my name's associated with that. And I don't want any negativity there. I want to be a resource long after the closing table. They know they can come to me. They, I have people tell me I'm a human Rolodex. I mean, it doesn't have to be real estate related. If they need a contact for something, I probably have it. And so it's kind of cool that I know they're going to contact me if there's something that's needed.
That's great. And, I'm not going to ask you what type of CRM you're using, because I think that's really way too common of a question and it doesn't matter. But I'm guessing you're using some sort of CRM to keep your database in, correct?
I am, but I don't use it. And what I mean by that is, for years I used Excel. I just used a simple Excel spreadsheet with everybody's information, copy and
Boom.
paste, made it simple. Again, I don't think you have to put a lot of thought into it. When my business really started ramping up, people kept telling me to hire an assistant or a virtual assistant. I was like, no, 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 no. I'm really bad at delegating. I didn't want to let go of some of that control, and I didn't want to spend the money when I didn't think it was necessary. Quite frankly, she has helped me grow my business, and she focuses on just me. I'm primarily her main agent, and then she has a couple other ones that she does. But she was using Top Producer for another agent, and she understood it sort of. And so I said, I don't care what you use, whatever makes it easier. So she wasn't dealing with two different databases. And then she moved this all over to Wise Agent. So right now I'm on Wise Agent. I literally know how to import and export a file if I want to send something, like a email address, or if I need to send an address. But I probably don't use it like it should be used. And it's worked for me for 13 years, so I haven't had a need to change it.
That's fantastic. Let me switch over a little bit to attraction. How many, and I know you're probably going to give me a vague answer, which is good. I like this. That's why you're here. How many hours a week do you think you spend on attraction? Do you time block for it, or you just?
That's going to be a vague, yeah, very vague.
Yeah.
I don't. It just is whatever comes up. If somebody, like this week, I have a lot going on. Last week we had Vicky in town. I think it was last week. And so I really pounced on that and took advantage of that. And I invited people that I thought would really connect well with Vicky. And I had 8 guests show up for lunch, and I paid for everybody, and it's like $200, but $200 is well worth it when you're having a guest come and putting them in front of Vicky. And so I had 8 guests last week. Jason Gessing's here this week, so I'm taking some more people on Thursday. So these 2 weeks I've put a lot more effort into it, just because I'm reaching out to people and I'm talking to them about, Jason and Vicky, and hey, our execs don't come in town much. I really want you in front of them. So this has been a little bit more work than normal, but it's just, usually if I think of somebody, I have a spreadsheet. It's very simple. It just says names, and it has everybody's names. And then whenever I think of something that's coming up that might be a fit for them, I invite them to it, and then I just track who's coming and who's not. At any point. And then I also have it on a spreadsheet just so that they're top of mind. I can glance at that and say, oh, hey, I haven't talked to Linda in a while. And I can just text her and say, hey, I just have been thinking about you. Would you love to grab coffee? And again, when we meet, I'm not talking about eXp as much. It comes up, but I want this to be a decision that they come to on their own. I don't want any pressure. I just want to provide information.
Yeah, and I just love this approach, and it's really all about relationship building, and that's the way it should be. 2 years ago, I don't know if you were in the conference in Vegas, but someone coined a phrase up on stage, which I haven't heard too much, but I just love this phrase. It says you don't want to go into eXpew, which you just start spewing about eXp immediately. So
that's funny. I haven't heard that, but I agree. I
think it might have been Brad who came up with that in Vegas.
Sounds like a Brad thing. That's awesome. I didn't make it to Vegas. My husband was out of the country, and we have this rule that if we won't be gone from the kids at the same time, because ours are so little. But I want to give them information. And I think people watch us a lot too. So even in transactions, I want to be the best agent representing my client, but I also want to be professional and generous with the other agent, because you just never know what kind of position they're in. I have attracted people to KW or eXp just because I've worked a transaction with them, and they didn't get the training and support from their company that they needed, but I kind of stepped in and helped because at the end of the day, I'm trying to get my seller to the closing table as well. And so if somebody didn't know what form to use, I'm not going to hold that over their head or be difficult or play some game with them. It's, it's a relationship not only with your clients, but also with the agents that you're in the industry with. And Austin, we have a lot of agents here, but really the community is pretty small with who you're doing transactions. I've got my own little list of agents that I hope I never have to do a transaction again. And I make sure every transaction that I'm never one of those agents that's on somebody's list that they don't want to do a transaction. I want them to be excited to work with me. I'm professional. They know we're going to make it a great transaction all the way to the closing table. And it helps me and my clients too if I'm in a multiple offer situation. But if they ever are really willing or ready to make a move, they'll reach out to me if if I put myself out there as professional and somebody they'd want to be in business with.
Boy, that's fantastic. Before you leave, I'm just going to open it up to questions if anybody wants to pick your brain a little bit here. Just hit your talk button and ask away. No? Any math questions for her? Word problems? So, Elizabeth, thank you very much. Wait a minute. I see a light bulb here. Oh, great stuff. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and effort coming in here and working so hard. I heard the cloud was crashing on you a little bit. But so just kind of reviewing about the attractology before you go, you basically just keep agents in mind. You're putting them onto an Excel spreadsheet. You're not using anything fancy. And then once in a while you reach out to them and said, hey, let's get coffee. And you just kind of let them work their own decision. But that process has allowed you to, have 20 in your first tier right out of the get-go within 2 years.
Right. And yes, it's been great because people that came from Keller Williams, they wanted to kind of come with me. And so that was an easy transition. But no, I just make it simple. I don't want anybody to feel sold. And I think everybody's different on how they approach things. And I just want us to be the company that people want to be a part of. They want to line up outside the door. They want to know what they're I don't know how to explain it. I went to Texas A&M and we had a saying that said, from the outside looking in, you can't understand it. From the inside looking out, you can't explain it. And that's how I get sometimes, because I get so excited about this company and the people. The people are really what attracted me here. I loved all of the big picture, the potential of this company. And when I joined, there were 400 people nationally. So I really never thought that we would be where we are right now, and it's been amazing. But I just want us to be a place where people want to be with us for the right reasons and help make this company grow. And it was really changing my mindset that we are owners. So we really want to be in business with the right agents and not just somebody with a pulse, because I'm seeing people come on board that really aren't a fit for this company. And I've had people ask me, well, why haven't you talked to me about eXp? And I'm like, well, I really know you're really invested in this company, and quite frankly, they're just not a fit. And so we don't want to just bring people on and then them leave, I think, because that negative word of mouth is much stronger than what our company is really about.
Yeah, I so agree. And you and I were from brokerages where, what counted most as an agent was a pulse. And as long as they had a pulse, welcome aboard, here's your cubicle. So yeah, I'm glad that most of us are not thinking in that way. Well, anyway, Elizabeth, thank you very much. You're free to go. I've got a few more things to talk about here, but I, again, appreciate your time and just love what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm happy to come visit anytime. And if I can ever help any of you, just reach out, and I'd love to do so. Very good.
And we'll probably see you in Fort Lauderdale. I can tell you that when Elizabeth and I call it her posse, show up, there's always a good time.
Well, I hope we'll be on our best behavior, I hope, after that. But yes, I will be in
That
Fort
won't be any
Lauderdale.
fun.
Y'all have a great morning.
Thanks,
so
Elizabeth.
Much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, before you go, I just got a couple more things to go over here. What I wanted, and Elizabeth left, what I wanted to mention about summing up with Elizabeth is you could see how she's not deep into technology or micromanaging what software I use. She's she's using Excel for a lot of things and have for many years. And, it's just about building relationships. She doesn't know conversion. She doesn't know sync. So let's just do some hard numbers here I want to make sure all your avatars are sitting, because if you take 16 million and you figure an average commission of not even 3, I usually use 2.75 because we see a lot of 3%, a lot of 2.5%. That's $440,000 a year in commissions, folks. 440. Now, again, if part of that is eXp, if we were at a traditional brokerage, that may be a really nice, 225 a year, but that's $440,000. Now, let's talk about her attractology. Last month, she didn't mention the numbers, but she very freely did before. I just didn't ask her. Last month, her revenue share was $35,000. Multiply that out. That's another $400,000. So think about this. This laid-back, casual woman, I use Excel, let's have a cup of coffee, is making $800,000 a year. And you could see that she's really not a superwoman. She just came from dropping her kid off at the dentist. Not forcing it on anybody, absolutely right. $800,000 a year. So I'm going to leave you on that note for something to think about. Instead of micromanaging everything, go out. The lesson is go out and build relationships. Just build relationships. $800,000 a year. That would be a good book title. How I Make $800,000 a Year by Buying a Cup of Coffee. All right. That's it for me. Anybody have any other questions or anything you want to say or add?
JT, it's Kate. All I was going to say was, I was just listening to her because I'm like, it's so refreshing, because I'm like, somebody like that doing that much business, and who cares, even if it's 16 million, even if it's million, whatever. It's the fact that she's herself and she's just human, and by that nature, she's able to build relationships. She's not forcing relationships because she wants to be in a relationship with that person. She's just herself and is able to do that. So I think that's the most important. That's what I always take away from it. And Hank talks about the same stuff in coaching. So it's like, it's so congruent, like those themes. So I don't know. I just appreciate her. So that was cool. Just have her talk. Thanks.
Yep. I'm glad to bring her in here. And whenever I find folks like that, for whatever they might share, I'm glad to bring them in. And I really appreciate her taking time out to talk to us. But yeah, there's your takeaway. There's the secret sauce. Be yourself, build relationships. So what did she say? 100% of her business, she's not, her face is not on bus stops or anything like that. She doesn't use conversion. She doesn't use sync. She has a sphere of influence that she stays regularly in touch with once a month. She has past clients that she stays regularly in touch with once a month. And, she just keeps a list of agents in an Excel spreadsheet. I'm surprised she didn't say it's in a wire-bound notebook. But I just love her laid-back approach. But again, look at the amount of business. And again, Kate, you're right. It doesn't matter if it's 16 or 9 or 3. She's being herself. But look at what can be achieved just by being yourself. Sit back a little bit after this meeting and, $800,000 aside, think about what you could do with $70,000 a month. All right. Everyone have yourself a good day. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, JT. Appreciate it.